Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are here with myself, Jason, and Jonathan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Davis. I'm a mobile developer at Atomic Robot.
And my name is Jason Day. I'm a product designer at Atomic Robot, and today we're just going to walk you through how to build an app for Wear OS, which is specific to Android. We previously done a tutorial with another Jonathan, which we refer to J1, and for this app he created for his baseball team for his kids. So we're going to recreate it in Android. For their platform, for their watch. So, what we're looking at now is the top section here. Those are the screenshots from the iOS app, and these are the components just below it that we created for Android. And you can see the screens for that app down here. And today we're going to walk you through how we make this home screen. So, we're going to have the time, the title, and these three kind of cards or button links that takes you to the correlating screens. All right. Anything that you wanted to add before I start jumping into this, Jonathan?
No, I'm good to rock and roll.
All right, let's get started here. All right, first, I'm just going to create a little section to work on so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to pull my toolbars back up here, and I'm going to change the color of my section to something a little bit darker so I can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm going to make it a little bit uh, brighter than that. There we go. All right. So we're going to start small. Anytime we make any kind of components or anything, we start really small. So I'm just going to Apple click the batter, and I'm going to hit copy, and I'm going to paste it right here. So now we have that same copy, and I'm going to do the same thing for these guys. I'm hitting Apple Shift, and I'm just going to hit copy, and I'm going to paste them right there. Well, I thought it was. Here we go. And we have one other thing we need is the little icon there for the baseball. So we can use our little drop down here and look for components, and we can just search for icons, and I think we can just pull that down. And you can change it over here where it says baseball. And we'll change the color later. But for now, let's just go ahead and group these little pieces of text together the way that we would for the card. So I'm just going to hit click and shift, and I'm going to hit shift A to put them in an auto layout. And we're just going to call this numbers for now. All right. And now we're going to group these together like that. Shift A, and we're going to call it icon plus label, because I guess that's what it is, the label for this card. So now we're just going to select this and select this, and we're going to hit Shift A again, and now we have, we'll just call it a card for now, for lack of a better way to call it. And Jonathan, if you have any suggestions for what developers would prefer to name things, I'm all ears on that. So I'm just changing this padding right here to be 8. And these are automatically set to 6 from what I had copied. And we're going to keep these as hug for right now. And I think this is all in auto layout, so we can do auto, I think, for now. And I think our padding is going to be 12 on the outside and 2 on the top and bottom. And we're going to make our rounded edges round, like 100% round. And then we're going to change the color of this, or give it a color fill to the surface. And there we have it, our first little card. And let's just change our icon to the, I think it's the secondary. Whoop, wrong one. Secondary variant, maybe. Let me just double check what I did here. And this is secondary. Yep. All right. And so now we have our card, and let's just hit Option Command K, and we're going to make it a component. And let's just make sure that this is responsive. This one could be fill. I think that's the way we would want to do it. Fill. There we go. And we probably want a little bit of padding in there to be like maybe let's do 16. All right, and let's try it now. There we go. All right, so now uh, no matter what size our device is, oops, we should be able to change it. Whoa, I'm not doing very good here, am I? There we go. All right, all right, responsive component. So I will pause right there and hand it over to you, Jonathan. But that's just how we're going to make our first component for the list.
All right, so to get started off, I'm gonna create the initial home list item. I'm already using an existing project, so I have all the data classes and everything I need to get up and go and have a preview have a preview displayable once I'm finished. So I'm gonna create a new class here. I'm gonna call it home list item. I'm going to create a composable function and I'll name the composable function in the same names I choose for the files. And I'm going to give it a title. And get it right. So that we're going to show to the left of the title. It'll be a SVG. And we need to give it a content description, which is useful for accessibility reasons and is necessary for the image. So if you have the accessibility screen reader on, it'll read out this text.
Nice.
I require, but I get in the habit of always adding that.
I think it's great. Always want to think about all users, often as
And we're
possible.
going to give it a default modifier, which is required. I'm sorry, this isn't required, but it's good practice and it allows the calling code to customize certain aspects so we can control the width, the background color, and things like that.
Okay.
And we're going to take a dash value. And if anyone's seen your previous lecture with J1 or your previous tutorial with J1, there's a notion of a dash value and inning details, and those controls the number that controls the value of the number and the inning indicator to the right of the text.
Okay.
Inning. And add those in. Putting these here temporarily, and they'll be moved into a view model in a little bit once I create that. But I'm going to create the item first. So this is going to be a row, so everything's laid out horizontally. And I'm going to style the row to give it a custom background. I'm going to make it clickable, but not yet. And the color is going to be the secondary color, or I'm sorry, it's going to be the surface color, which I got from Figma, and stored inside of the material theme.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, like there are color styles for people using this design kit. So you can, select whatever colors, hit the waffle menu, and you'll be able to scroll to where it says Android Watch and use any of those colors. Of course, you don't have to use these colors. You can make your own. But most of these are pulled to be kind of like the native recommendations, at least to my knowledge.
Right now, I'm adding a preview so we can see this without running it on a live device.
Sweet.
Preview wrapper is a custom composable that I'm using to apply a default style.
Okay.
And that way I don't have to explicitly write it out in code. So I want to show the first three items by default. So what I'm going to do here is just put them in a column which lays things out vertically. and game tab, which represents the three screens: the batter screen, the score screen, and the game screen.
Okay.
And I'm going to iterate over those, and I'm going to draw a home list item for each one.
And that's getting ahead of what we're doing today. We're just doing the home screen today, right?
Yeah, this is just controlling showing the list items in a
I got
preview.
you.
Yeah, I won't show those other screens.
Cool. All right. Let me jump into creating this next little guy here since he's a little different for the game. It includes an icon. Well, actually, a second icon if we count the first one. So we can actually, this is pretty cool. We can make a variant of this particular component. And all I'm going to do is hit this little plus sign. If you hover, it'll say what it does, add variant. So what we're going to do is we can just literally copy this and put it into this. And we can just hit our cursor and move it to the left. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we're just going to change it to be inning. Where's the inning? Oh, top of the inning. There we go. I think that's a little bit big. What do I have here? That is 16. All right. So to change that, we just hit K for scaling in Figma. And we can just scale it down by hitting Shift. And we got it right there. And we're just going to center this and hit V to go back and make sure that's centered. And we can just go ahead and delete these because we don't need those for this one. And we can change this to be the, what is it? I forgot what, we don't want score, we want the game, right? All right, game, kaboom. And then we just change that color real quick to the secondary variant. And there you have it. And one cool thing while you're doing that real quick is we can make this go to this layer here when we have icon selected. And we can just call it inning icon and just hit enter. And what for designers specifically, when we pull this out, we can just turn that icon off so you won't have to see it anymore with just this little toggle there. But yeah, and actually we want to call this game. Perfect. And you can see it changed here as well. All right, I'm going to pause and let you kind of walk what you're doing now.
Okay, so I got the preview and everything set up, and now it's ready for us to start building out the list item.
Awesome.
So right now it should be iterating 3, but they're just an empty row, so there's nothing to display. So I'm gonna add in the surface and the shape, and let's give it a height. And let's give it a height of 36 is what I saw on Figma. Whoops. And let's give it a fill max width, so it's always the size of its parent. And let's image in here for right now. I'm going to show image. We're going to attach that content description for the accessibility I mentioned before. And now you see these listed out, these 3 listed out quickly.
Nice.
All right. Let's add some more styling so it actually looks like what it looks in Figma. So we need to add a clip. And this will actually, it's like a cutout, like a cookie cutter cutout, and it'll define where the ripple animation in Android, where the bounds of it are.
Okay.
As of right now, we have a background with a shape of circle shape, but when you do a ripple animation, and when you click it, the ripple animation will actually extend beyond this. So putting a clip here will make sure it always matches where the background is.
Nice.
Next, we want to add some padding on those. Well, let's add some text in also. Import. All right, now we see that. Let me zoom in.
Yeah, looking good, looking good. Love it.
All right. And you can't really tell right here, but the background is there. So let me drop the background of this modifier, or this column, and give it a custom modifier. Go max size, background, color, black. Okay. So let's add some spacing in between these items. And I believe the spacing in between these items was 6.
For
Dips.
those, I think I did 8, but I have a box around my icon, so it may be a little bit more. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's preview it here. All right. Assign a vertical arrangement. And we're going to go arrange by space. And let's see, you said, what was it?
It's 8 between the icon and the label.
I'm sorry, I mean between the individual items.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. I haven't done that
Was
part
it
yet,
6?
but we'll get to that in a moment. 4 pixels.
Oh, it's 4? Okay.
Yeah.
And now you see it live updating over here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let me go back to the home list item, and we're going to control the spacing between these. And you said it's 8?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to vertically center these first, vertical alignment,
Okay.
center vertically. And then we're going to change the horizontal arrangement. And we're going to use a similar spacing modifier instead of vertical arrangement, it's a horizontal arrangement.
All right. Well, he's
And I
already.
actually want to set this to 6, and I'm going to manually add the additional 2 to the image icon.
That's looking
And I need
great.
to do that way so the layout's a little bit simpler. So as of right now, you see the spacing here, and let's add a modifier to this to adjust the padding. Oops. And close to that DP.
All right. I'm going to try and catch up a little bit and just group my cards together here. So I'm shift option clicking on that first one and just drag down. And I'm going to change this to the score. And I'm going to name this score. Right. And oh no, what did I do here? I didn't name it the right name. Shame on me. It's called variant, and it should be called. Let's do this one as batter, and this one is game. All right, and so now we can just. Is that right? Did I do that right, Jason? There we go. Score 1-0. So that's not right. We need to make it better. And we're going to call it game. And change this icon to game. Oh no, I'm messing these up. Dagnabbit. And I need to change this icon to the score. All right. So let's just have it different 1 to 0. So it's not all the same. And we're going to change this color here to the secondary variant color. All right. And so we just shift click all these guys. Shift A to put them all in, we're just going to call it a list. You got to name all your layers as you go. And I think we said 4 was the padding between them. And you're going to select each one of these and make sure it's set to fill container. All right. So that way, when we change our size, it will adjust to whatever size we need. All right. And now we need a frame like he has for the actual watch itself. So I'm going to hit the A frame here. Sadly, there aren't any options for the Android watch. But we can make those adjustments as needed. So we have 176 by 215. Let's just call it for now Wear OS. Actually, that's not right. Let's call it the home screen because that's what it is. And we're going to change this so it's square 176. And we'll just make it a circle 100 for our rounded edges. And we'll do the background color of the watch, boom, like that. And we can just copy. Let's actually make this a component, and we'll copy it and put it right in that home page and center it. And we can add some padding on both sides. I think it's 6. Ooh, that's not right. Not 16. Maybe it's 12. Nope, that's not right either. 8 maybe. All right, that's probably pretty close. What do we have here? It is 8 pixels. Perfect. All right, and I'm gonna pause right there and let you talk through what you're doing right now. That's looking perfect.
So right now I'm adding in the dash text value and the inning indicator, which are based on it having a value for dash value and inning details, which I've hard coded in a value just so I can show it in a preview, but in live one, only the game will have the inning details object.
Yep.
And then the score and batter will be the only two items that'll have a dash value. Right now, I'm giving the inning indicator a size to be 16. The height should be 16, and the width, I believe, is 12 pixels. Is that correct?
It is. Um, Width is 157 and 28 is the height I have so far.
Or the indicator is 157? Sure.
Indicator? Oh, you mean the
Yeah, the
little
triangle.
inning? Sorry. Yeah, that's 16 squared.
Let me add the inning details so we can see that.
All right. I'm going to grab the title here. Where is it? So we can just hit Apple and click this and hit copy. And we're going to put it right over here for now. And I'm going to show you a little trick. I think we're going to use this text right here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this time and use that since we've already made a component of it and put it right inside there. But I am going to show you how to make it adjust to that like rounded shape. I had to use a plugin for that, which is not a problem. I'm just going to show you how to use it really quick. It's pretty easy. So let's go ahead and paste that home here. And what we're going to do is just hit O on your keypad and just make a little circle. And you'll select this text in this circle. And we can go to plugins. And you can see I use that a lot. We can do to path. And let's just hit link. And there you have it. You can see that it says home right there. And we're not going to use that one. I just wanted to show you how to do it really quick if you get into the scenario where you need it. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but like designers don't really have to have that for y'all for the watch. It's like in that part of like already built in, maybe, or am I mistaken?
The title where it says home, or I'm sorry,
The
sorry.
time. I just use that text as an example.
Oh, so by default, they give us that. So when you
Yeah.
create a screen using a scaffold, time is considered part of it. You can remove it if you want,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it's completely configurable. You can change the color of the font and relative to the placement with a little bit of work. But I'm using the default scaffold that time is given to us.
Cool. That's what I thought. All right. So real quick, I'm just gonna group these, the time and the title together. Shift A, just do your auto layout, and we're just gonna call it header for now. And make sure you go into your layers. I guess hug is okay. And this is fixed, but we'll do fill container. Whoop. Maybe that wasn't the right idea to fill container. And now we're going to link the header with the list. So we just select both of those, Shift A, and let's just call it home content for now. You can always change the name as needed. And I think our spacing is 8 between that. And just go back to your layers and double check, make sure everything's, filled. Ooh, man, I'm not doing a very good job of that. And fill And we can just pull that apart, even though it looks broken. Boop. There you go. There you have it.
All right. So I've finished building up the list item and I have it correctly spaced. It shows both of these right now just for the preview, but on the live
Mm-hmm.
device, it won't be there.
Cool.
So now I'm going to wire up the actual list screen similar to what you did, and I'm going to add in the title. So I'm going to add a new file. I'm going to call it home screen. That means I'm going to create a composable also called home screen.
And you're using Kotlin.
Yes. Kotlin and Jetpack Compose.
Okay.
Okay, so this is going to be the main screen that's going to be visible. I'm going to take in a column state, which is necessary to hook scrolling. So it automatically will move the time component at the top of the disk. It's going to hide that as you scroll up. And it kind of gives you a little bit more vertical space. And to do that, I need to pass in a scaling lazy column state.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take a callback that lets us know when you click on one of these items to navigate. I'm going to call that on navigate to game tab. Okay. Next, we look in to how to show the screen to our nav graph. And if anyone's familiar with mobile development, the nav graph is exactly the same thing where as it is on phones, which is just a collection of different screens that can be displayed and has a common backstack. I'm going to do that in a way that it's an extension function off of the nav graph builder, and it kind of emulates type safety.
Okay. What's type safety?
Type safety, uh, it more or less means that you have a guarantee by the compiler that the data you're giving it is expected, and it prevents issues at runtime where, oh, I thought you were giving me a value of 1, but instead you gave me a string that says blue, for example.
I see.
And type safety prevents that from happening.
Okay. That makes
I'm
sense.
sure there's some CS diehards that don't appreciate that explanation, but it's the best I can give.
Sounds good to me.
Then we're going to create a scrollable, and this is a special extension function on the nav graph builder that means the screen that we're going to show will scroll vertically.
Nice.
We're going to give it a route, which is the name, and that's how we actually navigate using strings. We're going to navigate to a home route, spell it right, add in this import. And then we need to give it a builder function for our column state, our scrolling lazy column state. We use a scaling lazy column defaults. And then we're going to use the below time text. And this is a predefined state object for the list that's going to say display the contents of the list below the time text at the top of the disk.
Got it.
And we just need to call the home screen composable we created. Home state. We're going to pass in that column state now. Now, we need to create a view model so we can actually get the items that we want to display. This isn't a requirement, but it's just a practice that I always do is to separate my logic code from my UI code. So I'm going to create a home view model real quick.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make my little home screen a component. And that way we can use this and make it any size we need to. I need to do, fill, why didn't it listen to me? I must have done something in my layers that didn't allow me to make this as Oh, I think I know what I did here. We got to hit this little clicky guy here. These are your constraints, so I needed to make sure that it was set to both left and right, and since it defaults to just left top, it wasn't listening, but now it is. So if we needed to make it a different screen, we can. All right. And where are you at now?
Setting up the home view model.
Okay.
I'm almost done.
I'll go ahead and name my
And it's
section, and we're going to call it where OS components. Actually, it's called how many outs, not where OS. How many outs? If I can spell, I'm the same way with the spelling stuff. There we go. And it's so important to name every single layer. I know some designers struggle with having to do that, but it's super important because whether you're handing off your designs to another designer or you're sharing them with developers, having frame 763 isn't very helpful description of what that content is that they're trying to pull from.
Okay, so now I'm filling out the body of the home screen, which is just a scaling lazy column. And it's going to have the first item be the header of the screen, and then the subsequent ones are the batter, score, and game items.
All right.
So to do that, I have a view model that'll pull in the individual items we need to show.
Great.
And I just need to collect from its state. View model. I'm going to collect state with life cycle, which means I'm going to collect as long as the app is open.
Got it.
Oops. Yeah, I'm going to, instead of use equal, I'm actually going to use by, which is a notion of, it's a paradigm called delegation, which just saves me an extra word. Instead of using dot value, I can just treat it as if it's actually that value.
Okay.
All right, so items, and I'm going to iterate over the options that we're going to show, which are batter, score, and game.
Perfect.
I need to pull in this import. And then it's going to provide me the home item here. I'm just going to name it so I don't have to use it. It'll be a little bit more explicit. And in fact, I'll just put the type here. And now I'm going to call home list item. Title.
Do you find those auto drop downs are are very helpful, or are they more or not as helpful?
It used to be very helpful, but lately I've been having an issue where I press tab to autocomplete.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't delete the previous text I had, so it'll generate an invalid string. And I feel like it didn't do that before. I feel like that was something that came in an update that broke that functionality for me.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I could see how it could be helpful and hurtful. Because I have that problem when I'm just like texting people.
Fill max width. Import for the modifier. And now we're going to actually provide dash values based on the data provided from our view model. Getting details comes from here. Now we just need to give it a click listener.
Okay.
which will define us navigating to the screen when you click on an item.
Got it.
We tell it so when you click on it, navigate to that tab. Now the last thing we need to do is add the header list item. And there's already a predefined header in the API or the SDK that has some defined formatting for us. So we're just going to take advantage of that and just put a text inside of here. Oops. We're going to use a string resource instead of hard coding it. This way you can exchange it, use the app in different languages. You just need to provide a common file with all your strings in the languages you want your app to work.
That's awesome.
This
And you know how many languages that supports?
English. I
Oh,
haven't gone through it and changed it yet or added any additional ones. There's plenty of tools online you can do, or you could just use Google Translate, that famous one. But I know there's some services that you can do it with.
okay.
And this has a default color, which is I think secondary, right, for the title.
Let me double check. It's yep. That's what I had. Let me just double check that that's right. Secondary. Secondary. Yep, that's what I used.
Okay. And now let me show you a preview of this before running on a live device.
Alrighty.
Oops. And I'm going to use another preview wrapper so it automatically applies to the theme.
Okay.
Print these imports. Oh. Show it. Might need to build and refresh.
Okay, donkey.
Render issues. Oh, interesting. So there's render
Uh-oh.
issues. Layout fidelity. Oh, I am using Coin to instantiate my view models, and I commented that code out. So let's go to init Coin. So it's pretty much telling us it can't find the view model to show the screen.
Gotcha.
So there we
Oh,
go.
look at that. So pretty.
Now it looks weird because it's rendering for a phone layout. Let me swap this out.
The perspective reminds me of the Star Wars credits for a second there.
Oh, the vertically scaling text.
Yeah.
So here it is. This is what it looks like. Now this has a default spacing from the top because of the lazy scaling list.
Mm-hmm.
And the scaling lazy column state where I defined that the below time text, it's automatically putting this padding here. And then as you scroll, it collapses. And just because we're on a preview, it's not showing the time here. So let me run this on a live device.
Looks great though. I love the kind of cascading effect on the cards.
Yeah, the scaling lazy column actually will shrink these items ever so slightly as they go to the top of the screen.
That's nice. Nice little touch.
Okay, so let's run this. Oops. Got a crash live on camera.
All right.
Let's pause it.
Let's learn something new here.
Oh, we didn't actually link this in. That's why that doesn't work. Okay.
There you go.
Let's go to main activity. It's giving us a crash because it's trying to route to a navigation that doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
So that's fun. This needs to go to, I believe that's how that one goes.
It
is a default, sorry. It is a default name for a parameter if you don't give it an explicit one. It just defaults to it. So if I change this to be home the value it's receiving is labeled home.
I see.
And this is just a shorthand. Column's all about its shorthand, so you don't have to explicitly do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just defaults to using that.
Got it.
So let's run this again. All right. And you can scroll.
Woo!
See time got a
Beautimus.
little smaller.
Love it.
And then if you saw the time up here, I'm sorry, the title got a little bit smaller. The time is scrolls off screen as these ones go.
It looks so good.
And let's tap this. Oh, I don't think I have the tapping working. Hold on.
Well, that's okay. We haven't gotten to those other screens anyway, so yeah, I think this looks fantastic. And how would you go about adjusting that padding above the title? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, they have some default values, so I can, or not, they have a default value, I think, of like 32 pixels.
Okay.
If you look in here below, there is a other parameter of top padding DP. And let me just like put that to 16, for example. Try that.
And the QA in me is wondering how to put the spaces between how many outs.
I'm sorry, you said the space between how many outs? Oh, you're right. I used the wrong title. App name title.
Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. The spacing fixed. Yes. And there
There
it
we go.
is. Perfection, my friend. Excellent work.
Oh, I figured out why the clickable isn't working. Give me 1 second. I
Okay.
need to add this. I'll show you two ways of doing it, and there's really one right way, but there's a common way to do it when you're first learning compose. Clickable, as it as a parameter. So right now, I've added the clickable after the padding and after the background and clipping, and I'll show you what that looks like and why there's a wrong way.
Oh.
If you see it right there, the ripple is
Mm-hmm.
not going to the full item, and that's because I put it after the padding. So I say horizontal padding of 12 and vertical padding of 2.
Uh-huh.
And if you see, that's where the ripple is kind of confined into.
I
So
see.
you want to put your clickable up here
Got it.
for your padding. Now it's all.
Nice.
And another thing, I can show you the importance of that clip I was mentioning. So let me comment that out and run it. And if you see it, it's ever so slightly going to the edges over here outside of the rounded corners.
Okay.
And that's the importance of clip here. So let me run it. Everything should be good to go. And you click it and it navigates here.
All right. And that's what we'll be doing on the next one. That the batter screen. Wow. I love it. You did it really, really fast. It looks exactly pretty much verbatim to what I have. And we did that in less than about an hour. So there you have it, folks. A quick little home screen for a little baseball app. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for building this with me. I learned a lot from you, and you had some great insights into like the details of how everything works, especially that little click thing. I love that little ripple effect. Anything else? Other insights you wanted to share?
Not off the top of my head, but I want to thank you for coming up with a great design and having all the assets available for me to build this. I've definitely appreciate that. It speeds it up actually instead of me having to come up with them myself or like trying to copy them off of the internet.
Sure.
So I can't wait till we do the next part.
Yeah, this was awesome. Yeah, look for our next tutorial where we'll be doing the batter screen. A little tiny bit more complicated with some more buttons, but anywho, this was a lot of fun, and thanks everybody for hopping on our little tutorial. And feel free to reach out with any questions or feedback to help us improve these for everybody. But thanks again, Jonathan, and thanks for everyone for hopping on. All right, peace
See
out,
you later.
everybody. Bye.